Welcome, everybody, to this episode of Medical Myths, the show about what not to do with your body. And I hope you all liked the new intro. I'm super psyched about it. And BrainBug was one of the first to be able to watch that new intro.
Mm.
I was just really
Yep,
excited.
I was talking about it this morning too because you did such a good job on it. Did you do it all yourself, all the work on it?
Yeah,
It
I
looked
made that.
beautiful. I love it, and you got the gloves. The gloves are a staple of student Dr. Ben's channel these days. So we got to have that
Yes.
snap.
Snappy gloves. So I have BrainBug on, and you all probably know that if I have BrainBug on, we're going to be talking about some kind of either insect or some kind of animal. And if you saw the thumbnail, we are talking about venom today and all kinds of varieties of myths related to different types of venoms. We'll probably talk about snakes and spiders today just because there are way too many venoms on this planet to really dive into in an hour and a half.
And we can brush over some like wasp and scorpions too. But yeah, mainly what we're here to talk about today is the two animals that come up in your brain when you think of venomous are snakes and spiders. So, and most of these, the stuff that we're going to look at, these remedies are going to be directed towards those topics. We are going to see a lot of rattlesnakes today. We're going to see a lot of widow spiders. And I believe we have a whole slew of brown recluse stuff to talk about that we need to address.
Oh yeah, there's a lot of myths surrounding these, and people love to capitalize on this subject. And it's fascinating though, because when you're looking for the pseudoscience on venom, people know that they have to be very careful about it. So some people are dumb enough to openly admit that they are targeting brown recluse bites or black widow or rattlesnake but most of the time people know that it's unethical to prevent people from seeking medical attention related to that. People know that they can be sued for spreading misinformation on that. So I know people are very careful with how they word things. So if you search for natural remedies for like a black widow bite, it's going to pull up an article or a bunch of articles talking about just general spider bites because, okay, yeah, most of the time a spider bite isn't going to be like that harmful. So they can get away with saying something like that, even though they're trying to hint at being something more nefarious.
Yeah, they're trying to present it that it could be used on a medically significant species bite when really just it'd be by medical. Okay, so when you talk about spider bites and snake bites for that matter, the term medically significant really comes up when you go by species to species. And medically significant means that if you get bit by this organism or stung by it, because some of these medically significant organisms just sting you, there's like the blue-ringed octopus, for instance, that that you need to seek medical attention. Okay, so in North America, where Ben and I live, there are two primary suspects here in the spider world, and those are the brown recluse and the black widow. Yes, it is highly recommended that if you get bit by one of these spiders, uh, that you seek medical treatment. It's not there's no way if ands or buts about it. Yes, perform first aid if you have the means to, but you still need to seek out medical treatment. And that's what I want to start off this by saying that first and foremost. We recommend for any medically significant species that you seek professional medical help and don't go off anything we say here. We're just trying to crack open this nonsense here. But yeah. Anyway, sorry to go on a tangent there, Ben, but go ahead.
No, we needed to say that.
Yeah.
But something I did want to address before we kind of get into the pseudoscience is with these species, even though we regard their venom as being highly dangerous, and sometimes it can be, are there possibilities, or what is the likelihood that someone would have a fatal reaction to one of these?
Right. Yeah. And then when you look into some of the research done into these species, and I think we're probably going to see some of that coming up here, but when we look into the impact, it's usually the people who suffer fatal reaction to the bite are generally small children, or elderly or sick people, that people with other immunocompromised conditions.
Yeah, so you have um, a lot of people who can be bitten by one of these organisms, and then they might not suffer a lot of serious consequences. They might have a minor injury from it. And so people who have these like minor injuries then can use some weird pseudoscientific remedy and say, "Yeah, I got rid of this envenomation with this remedy," when in fact it might just be that they had a mild case and it was going to resolve on its own anyway, right?
Okay, and I want everybody in the live chat just to go ahead and get your alcohol ready and take a shot every time we mention the word clinical trials, because we are gonna that is going to come up because these remedies. Well, we'll see. Well, when we get into it, you'll see what I mean.
So I want to pull up some funny videos first because do we I gotta pick which one we're gonna do first because all of these are.
Well, while you're picking that up, I'm going to say hi to everybody. So far, we
I'll
have
go for it.
exceptionally average. Good afternoon, exceptionally average. Good to see you today. We have the atheist Rye. I think that's Rye. Maybe Ree. Correct me if I said it wrong, but happy that you're able to join us for this medical myths today, and we're going to be talking about some cool stuff. I hope you like creepy crawlies and slithery boys, because I sure do. We have Boltorian. Hey, Bolt, good to see you. Not like I didn't expect to see you here. We got Mr. Keith X. Afternoon, Keith, and Kyle is here. Hello, Kyle. All right. What do we
So
got
this
here?
video we're going to start off with, this is more of a funny video. I also apologize deeply to everyone's eardrums because there's a man playing the harmonica in the background very, very loudly. So she's making this video and this guy next to her is just like jamming on his harmonica.
That's not considerate at all, is it?
Yeah. So I started it at this one point because she, before this, has this whole story about living in this like rural area and like her family this, family that, and now they have natural remedies. So we might not watch this whole video because you'll get the idea very quickly about what she's doing. But this one's just for laughs here.
I got my harmonica here.
That we used in this area. And Richard, I enjoy your playing.
There's the harmonica, man.
Wonderful harmonica player.
Could probably skip ahead a little bit because we don't need to watch Harmonica Man.
So I have a recipe for illnesses and diseases. This especially is something that you use when you get hit by a black widow spider or a brown recluse spider.
So if you can't hear it very well, she's saying that if you're bit by a black widow or brown recluse,
we would take the potato,
and she has a potato. She has a potato in front of her.
And this is going to be a poultice that you use to put on the bite. You can also use a spoon to dig out the potato.
So she's scraping out the potato.
You're going to
Like also how you make twice baked potatoes, I understand.
Yeah, so she's scraping out the potato, and then I'll skip ahead a little bit, and then she puts the potato where the bite is.
It could be
and that's supposed to,
tape or
cure it.
Tape that you would use for mailing.
Then you put tape on the potato.
Get that on there and then wrap the tape around it and around it and around it so that this can't leak. You don't want this.
So we can't even hear what's going on. But so I got the harmonica guy in the background.
Talk and I'll play over here, okay?
Yeah, that's gonna be a great show. Okay, so what do you think about this?
Well,
so if you were bit by a black widow or a brown recluse and you scrape out a potato and you put on the potato,
and you put the potato on and it alleviates the pain. Is that what the or is this actually supposed to draw?
This is a cure.
It's a poultice, so it should draw out the venom, right?
Mm-hmm.
And obviously, so potato, they draw out sodium, right? Well, yeah, I don't see how this is going to draw out venom. It'll dry out the surface area of your skin. It'll dry it out, I guess. It'll dry out the bite. But I don't think that's going to pull the venom out.
Yeah, it's funny too because she says the spider bite, and then she also lumps in like any kind of infection into this mix. Like that's a very broad range of things you're trying to do
Can you
with
put
this
max zeros on
potato.
an infection? Is that in the medical books?
It's not not in the studies that we rely on.
Yeah.
I don't believe there's any evidence that this works. I mean, okay, if we could do this, if there was medical legitimacy to using a potato to cure spider bites, we probably would be doing that.
Right. So you were in the military, right? Did you ever have
Yeah,
to
I'm
peel
currently in.
potatoes? Yeah. Did you ever have to peel potatoes on or anything like that? Where
No.
because I worked in a kitchen for a while and I had to peel potatoes. And your hands get really dried out
Oh yeah.
after doing it. So
Yeah.
yeah, that's basically the effect that you're getting here in desiccating the area of infection. I don't know that that's going to be a cure or even help with the pain. Yeah.
So this next one, do we want to dive into brown recluse, since that's kind of a big chunky topic for today?
Yeah, we can. I think we should save the snakes for the end, and specifically that snake bite kit, because I have a lot to say about it.
Yeah, we can say that for the end. So I think it's not that one. Which one is it? It's this one.
Hi everyone, David.
So hold on. So that was a very, very quick disclaimer. I didn't even I barely saw that pop up.
Oh, there we go.
Yeah,
Nothing
so it popped up
contained
for
herein
half a
is
second.
meant to diagnose, treat, or cure any disease. If you need medical attention, call a qualified healthcare professional. This video is for entertainment purposes only. Results might not be typical. The opinions expressed by the people in this video may or may not be the beliefs and understanding of Living Waters. Is that Living Waters like Ray Comfort Living Waters?
I know it sounds very similar, but I guess this specific company does colonics.
Oh, well,
in Boise, Idaho. Which that's an important point, that they're in Idaho. Keep that in your mind for when we're talking about this situation.
and it's not because of the potatoes.
It's not because of potatoes. No, they're the potato. Do not use a potato if you are bitten by a brown recluse. That's bad. And notice here how it says natural remedy for spider and bug bite. So they're making it sound like they're addressing a benign bug bite,
Like a
when
mosquito
in the
bite.
video they specifically say brown recluse. So
Hi everyone, David DeHaas here with lovely Tyler.
Hi.
If you were here yesterday, Tyler had a little owie, not a little owie, a big owie.
A big one.
And it was a spider bite. So we treated it yesterday and she's had some great success. We want to give you the feedback of what we did. And so Tyler, first of all, just tell us what happened to you.
So in my sleep, didn't know it, but I apparently had gotten bit by a spider, assuming probably brown recluse. I live the bench area of Boise. See a lot.
Okay, let's talk about this real quick. So number one problem here that I'll let BrainBug address.
Yeah.
So the state that they're in, and also that she was in her bed.
Yeah. So Idaho. Yeah, there's no brown recluses in Idaho. They are a Midwestern phenomenon, and though they have been introduced and invasive in some areas in the Southwest, in niche metropolitan areas, they are generally do not exist west of the let's say the border of Kansas. So yeah, we're not seeing this species in Idaho. And brown recluse, generally when people get bitten by them, it's they stick their hand or their foot somewhere, generally like under wood, like in a cabinet or under a table, or sometimes between the wall joist or floor joist, places like that. That's where these guys like to hang out. It's where they hunt. It's where their food is. They're generally not crawling across to your bed.
Mm-hmm. And especially if it's a location where a human is going to be at multiple times, like throughout the day.
And they have chemoreceptors, so they can pick up where we spend most of our time. They try to avoid our trackways where we walk where we walk frequently. So if you're laying in your bed, generally a brown recluse is not going to be in your bed.
Yeah.
Not to say that she didn't get bit by a spider. There are a few spiders, a few suspects we could go over in the area, but I'm not even convinced that this is a spider bite.
Yeah, let's look at, because she shows off there's a good picture somewhere in there. Where she holds it there on this. So there's the front, and then she has like the profile. So I do want to talk about this appearance of the wound, because there are a few factors here that make a brown recluse bite incredibly unlikely. And I think I want to switch over to the up-to-date article because we have a little mnemonic of how to diagnose a brown recluse bite or how to not diagnose a brown recluse bite. Also, what is up? Ethan's in the chat.
Hey, Ethan.
So I'll stop sharing that video. We'll get back to that video because he's going to propose a cure for this, and we'll talk about that. But
it's not a potato this time. So.
It's not a potato. No, but apparently you can use
all
a
those
potato.
potatoes around, and they didn't even realize the cure was right there, right under.
I know. Why are people selling like these homeopathic treatments when you could just use a potato?
Yeah,
I don't know.
You're being facetious here. Please do not.
do not use it. No, don't do it. Okay, so here's the criteria for brown recluse bites, and this is from Up to Date. So this is like the database for the standards of care for all things medical. You have experts from every field all over the world putting in what they know about these conditions. And so like when we're in clinic or we're in the hospital and there's something that we need to read up on, this is where we go. So this is like the gold standard information that we have in medicine. So they have here differential diagnosis for these bites, if they are even bites. And so a lot of these bites are actually misdiagnosed as spider bites. And the few factors that make a bite less likely, especially a brown recluse bite, there's a mnemonic called not recluse. So it's a nice little mnemonic. But if the bites are numerous, if you have multiple bites, it's probably not a bite from a spider. I'll let Bud.
And if that's happening in your bed, the most likely candidate is bed bugs. So you do need to get that checked out because they can an infestation of bed bugs can spread really fast, and their bites do get infected, and when they get infected, they look a lot like spider bites. But the infection is not uncommon in bed bug bites.
Yeah, and then occurrence is the next one. So like we were mentioning, a bed is not really a place where you're going to find these. But if you're in an attic or a garage or a closet, that's going to be a more likely place. Or if you like corner the spider in a way that it feels threatened, like you're going to squish it, that's a more likely situation where you're going to be bitten by these. These are not out looking for you.
And like I said, the most common place that we find recluses and where they tend to rest is up against wood. So you're really going to find them against wood, usually raw wood, like floor joists and things like that. So that's why the attics and garages and places with unfinished studs are their favorite hangouts.
And then the next one is timing. So they're saying that lesions appearing from November to March are less likely. And what do you know about the seasonality of these spiders?
They're seasonal is exactly the proper description of them. They are they like the warm months. They are active during the warm months, and the females typically only live about a year to 18 months, and generally the die off is in the winter, and their egg sacs are laid and then they hatch in the spring. So much like robins, brown recluses hatch in the spring and leave their little eggs where you can find them. You can actually locate. I didn't bring a picture of a brown recluse egg sac. I should have, but it's easy to remove them in the winter if you find the egg case. But because the female only has to mate once and she can lay them all over your house. That's why you get an infestation. But you'll see them hatching in the spring.
Yeah, so I don't know when that video was filmed, but it was uploaded in November. So possible that it was outside of the season for it to be brown recluse, but we've already debunked that it cannot be a brown recluse just based on the location. But then
unless
the next
someone
one,
recently moved into the household from the Midwest, because that's where the
True.
range is. Yeah,
true.
but highly unlikely. Highly unlikely.
And then if it has a red center, it's probably not a brown recluse. The bite that she had wasn't really red in the center, but a lot of people will post pictures of like a red bump or a red like bug bite.
Red
But if
irritated
it's red, it's
area, yeah.
probably not. Recluse bites are usually pale in the middle.
This next one is where it really stands out that this is not a
Yep.
brown recluse bite.
Mhm.
That even a lay person who understood what a brown recluse bite is expected to look like would see this and say that's not a recluse bite. That is E for elevated. Recluse bites are flat or sunken. Yeah, they cause your
Yep.
your surface area of the skin to retract because they're necrotic. They start
Mhm.
to break down the cell walls, and actually brown recluses and other members of this group cause your red blood cells to explode as well. It's
Mhm.
pretty nasty business.
Yeah. So another reason why this video is probably not a brown recluse. Also, if the lesions are chronic, if they last longer than several weeks, I think some other source said the cutoff was like a couple months, like 2 or 3 months. But I'm not sure. I'm not positive about that cutoff.
Yeah, I'm not sure either about that. There's so much about this one that we're looking at right now that we could have already ruled out. If you were sitting there with your board taking down notes while someone was describing and you're looking at their injury, you would already ruled out a brown recluse at this point.
Yep. And then large, if it's a lesion larger than 10 centimeters, it's probably not a brown recluse. Also, if it ulcerates too early. So if something ulcerates earlier than 7 days, that's probably either an infection or something called pyoderma gangrenosum, which we'll talk about that. We'll talk about what it probably is if it isn't a spider bite or a brown recluse bite. But if it ulcerates really early, probably not. And then this one, as we saw in the video, her arm was very, very swollen. When we saw her hold it at a profile, you could see it had a nice mountain of edema. And that's not really going to happen unless you have a bite to the face or the feet, or in other situations that are atypical.
The last one is for it to be moist and what's that word? Exudative.
Exudative.
Yeah.
So if it's like purulent or there's pus coming out of it, that strongly indicates presence of an infection.
Yeah, that generally rules out spider bite in general if you're looking at it, unless it's been a few days and it's gotten necrotic and then got infected. You're not expected to see a lot of pus.
Yeah. So what is it? If it's not a spider bite, then what can we rule in or rule out for this kind of thing? So kind of here we have a list of differentials. So it could be an infection. That's probably the more common thing that we see, because you can get skin infections pretty easily, even if you don't really know what caused it. Especially minor injuries we may not feel all of the time. So things like staph, specifically MRSA, or even streptococcus can cause skin infections. It's the more common cause of gangrene. So if you got one of these in your skin and got cellulitis, it can present how many people think would a brown recluse bite would present, but it's more likely something like this.
And that's actually the internet's fault that people think that too, because when you look up brown recluse bite, it shows you some nasty infections that are really necrotic and very large. So it scares a lot of people, but they also tend to associate anytime they see an injury that looks like what they see when you Google that, if there's a brown recluse bite, even if they live outside of the range. This is not an isolated incident of someone in a state far, far from brown recluse's range claiming that they have a brown recluse bite.
So this picture here, I don't know if you can see it, it's very small, but that is a brown recluse bite with skin necrosis. So that's what you'd expect it to look like if you waited a bit and it became necrotic. And we can compare some of these other conditions they have pictures of. I don't think they have a picture here of MRSA, but I think a lot of you have seen pictures of MRSA infections somewhere on the internet. Somebody you know has had a MRSA infection, or some other type of cellulitis, or if you've seen pictures of gangrene, you've seen a streptococcal gangrene. But then the next kind of differential would be vascular disease. So like if you have chronic venous insufficiency, so cases of like if you have liver cirrhosis or heart failure, or it's cases where the blood in your veins is not being pushed up to the rest of your body properly, you can get it pooling in your legs, and stasis causes a lot of irritation. It can cause swelling. It can cause ulcers. So, and similarly with diabetes, you get the same kind of complications. That's pretty. I haven't seen a lot of cases of vascular disease like this looking like a bug bite, though, because it's usually more diffuse. But it is listed here as a differential. And then I think besides MRSA, the most common misdiagnoses are pyoderma gangrenosum, where if you've had trauma, you've had gangrene, you might get a lesion that looks like this, or you might get one that looks like that. So it can look necrotic, it can look ulcerated, it can look swollen. But that is, I think they said one of the more common pictures that they post that they label as a brown recluse bite is actually pyoderma gangrenosum. And then the other one is neutrophilic dermatosis. And that's, if you look at that, it's kind of hard to see, but it's a pustular vasculitis. So with that, you might also get some pus, some exudates, because it's a neutrophilic response. And so this is something that is more like immune regulated and not really, obviously not related to a spider. But then this could also be some other type of bug bite. And so BrainBug would know more about what kind of bugs might we mistake for a brown recluse bite.
Yeah, the main ones are bed bug bites, because that's where we get an infected bed bug bite, and it looks a lot like a spider bite, or what you traditionally would think of as a spider bite. Other culprits are, of course, assassin bugs like kissing bugs that do visit you while you sleep and do want to drink your blood. Mosquitoes, everybody's favorite, of course, and then ticks and tick bites do have a tendency towards getting infected a lot worse than spider bites too. But generally, the problem with ticks is that they hang on. You don't have a tick bite where you don't know what caused it for the most part. But if one gets infected, it can look a lot like a spider bite, and someone might mistake one for a spider bite if they looked at a photo of one. But yeah, as far as arthropods go, yeah, we're looking at spiders that could bite you. House spiders can bite and leave a little bit of a red area, and maybe some allergens interacting with your system to cause swelling. It's possible to have a bad allergic reaction to like a house spider bite, and I'm talking like cellar spiders, house spiders. Also, there are some other the other species of spiders that do have venom that could potentially be significant to humans, like sac spiders, that might cause a skin reaction, but aren't necessarily considered medically significant due to allergens and things.
Yeah. So I don't know if we need to go a whole lot into the treatment. But you'd expect people to have like these wild antivenom treatments for these kind of bites. But I mean, for most people, most of the time, it's just going to be trying to make sure that you don't get an infection secondary to the bites, and then making sure that you're taking care of the wound and not letting it get to a point where it becomes so necrotic that you're going to need the skin graft or something.
Now, do allergy treatments help at all with spider bites? I'm not sure.
I'm not sure either. I'm not sure.
I know that, yeah, you can have allergic reactions like bee stings and things. So
Mhm.
I'm not sure how that correlates to spider bites, but it's actually.
So let's pull up the video again and let them keep talking a little bit. But now that we know what we should expect from a brown recluse bite and what we shouldn't expect, we can kind of approach the rest of these and determine what do you think? Put it in the chat if you think something is a brown recluse bite or if you think it isn't. I'd love to know what you all think about it. So that was, I wonder if we can pull up the, here we go. Yeah. So look how big that is.
Yeah, that's really swollen.
That's huge.
So Tyler, first of all, just tell us what happened to you.
So in my sleep, didn't know it, but I apparently had gotten bit by a spider, assuming probably brown recluse. I live the bench area of Boise, see a lot of those, and the way it's turned out, I assume it was something quite large.
So let's show them the bite. Yesterday, this was much bigger. It probably poked out another 1/4+ inch. So it's really reduced down.
I initially noticed that it was hurting. I could feel it up in my lymph nodes. I could just feel something was off before I even knew I had the bite.
So she put some clay on it, so that's not what it actually looks like.
So when I first got here, he applied the mud, and instantly it was just soothing. I mean, it felt great just to kind of take the irritation away. But then as it started to dry, and I'll kind of show again, you could see these more wet spots where it started pulling out whatever was in there. And just within, what's it been, 24 hours?
Yeah, 24 hours now.
It's definitely come up way more. It's coming to a head. You could tell it's kind of working its way out. It's bothering me less. And then just kind of reapplying this mud has just really taken kind of that initial zing away.
Right.
So, I mean, probably fine. Like the mud, I don't even know what mud they're using. I'm sure that it probably has some like comfort properties. Like it might feel good, especially if it's like a cooler temperature of a mud and you're applying it to a highly edematous and inflamed part of your body. Of course, yeah, putting something cold on it's probably going to feel better. But the fact that it seems to be drawing things out isn't necessarily indicative that the mud's doing that. This is a natural reaction of your body
To expel, any kind of contaminant. Yeah, but I'm not sure about what could have caused this. I can tell you it doesn't look like a bug bite to me on this one. It doesn't.
No, it looks like cellulitis to me.
Okay, yeah, I'll take your word for it because you've studied that, but I know what bug bites look like, and I don't think that this looks like a bug bite.
Yeah, like either like erysipelas or cellulitis. The difference between those is the depth of the tissue that's infected. And you can figure that out by ultrasound. You put an ultrasound probe on it, you can see disruption of the connective tissue and things. But it looks like a skin infection to me. At least that's my instinct at this point to say that.
Right. Yeah.
Yeah,
We're not here to
it's way
diagnose
down.
the bite. We're more to address the remedies that they're going to present here.
Yeah. So they're still showing this off.
Glacial marine mud, awesome product for pulling, has amazing powers. Built for basically putting on your face and drying.
Amazing powers,
like
he said.
Growing up, use this for acne and so forth. You can do a whole body thing to pull out toxins. Very, very powerful.
So when I first showed David, his first instinct was obviously to use the mud. I'd done Epsom salt and heat compresses for about a day before, and I wasn't really seeing much reaction. He put the mud on and just instantly it felt so much better, just kind of soothing any kind of irritation that you have. It just feels really great. But then he told me to apply it, let it dry for about 30 minutes, rinse it off, and then just reapply as much as I felt comfortable. And I pretty much had it on nonstop for about 24 hours. And it caused the bite to totally shrink up. You could see where it was trying to surface. And
correlation does not equal causation. It shrunk, but that doesn't mean that the mud made it shrink.
And that's the same with the potato desiccating the area. It's going to make it look smaller too. When you draw the moisture out of something with clay, or clay will draw oil out too. So yeah.
Yeah, absolutely. And why did she call this guy from this colonics organization? Because like they do colonics, that's like their thing.
And who diagnosed this wound, this injury? Who died? Did this guy?
Probably him. Probably this guy who's not a physician. He was obviously not qualified. Like, I don't know any physician that would say, yeah, put some facial mud on it.
And talk about its powers.
Yeah, if your provider says that a medication has powers, find somebody new, because that's sketchy. That's really sketchy.
We'll just pretend he's being hyperbolic, but yeah, that's definitely a red flag.
Then that was about 24 hours of use. I slept with it on last night, and when I got up this morning and started rinsing it off, it wanted to drain on its own. So really, really rapidly.
I mean, yeah, it would. It's been 24 hours since this happened. Of course, it's gonna start draining.
Your body wants to heal it.
Drawing it out, and every time you put it on, you can see what is drawing all the toxins.
Right. We also applied a little frankincense directly to it yesterday.
Yeah,
they applied frankincense to it.
Really good. Kind of helped calm it down in between the mud. That was good.
So great for having bites. If you ever have bee stings, we take this when we go camping in case somebody gets a little sting. But
that's good.
Lots of fun to do. It just is a natural mask upon your face. So more information on our website, livingwaterscleanse.
Okay, I don't need to platform him anymore. I mean, the other videos that I have here about the brown recluse, it's all kind of the same thing. Another video about it's the same kind of thing, except they say to put like thieves essential oil salve on it. Same situation.
And frankincense is not had any kind of clinical trials to show that it does anything for inflammation. I know that it's prescribed as a homeopathic remedy for inflammation, but yeah, there's no clinical proof of that. Not to say that it can't be, that when we do some experiments on it, that it might turn out that it has some properties, but as of right now, nothing has come forth to show that it can be used for inflammation.
So with that, you want to move on to kind of the highlight of the episode that I know you've been looking forward to, talking about snakes.
Yes, let's talk about the snakes.
Talk about some snakes.
Okay, so yeah, North America, the main snakes that people are going to be trying to avoid getting bitten by are the various species of rattlesnakes, the diamondback, the eastern timber rattler, but also some other snakes like copperheads and things. So these, but much like they did with the spiders, all these sites and homeopathic remedies just say snake bites. They don't generally specify. I think you got one that specifies rattlesnakes, but all the rest of them is just snake bites.
Yeah. Do we want to watch the funny video to lead into the snake thing?
Yeah, let's do it.
You haven't seen this video yet, but we're gonna watch this whole video. Probably it's about 6 minutes long, but this is entertaining.
Do I need the
so we're gonna
harmonica?
watch it. What was that?
So do I need the harmonica?
Oh no, please do not bring back the harmonica. I will cry. Okay, so this guy has been it's called Why I've Been Injecting Snake Venom for 30 Years. So also it says, warning, Vice does not recommend injecting yourself with snake venom. BrainBug, do you recommend people inject themselves with snake venom?
I don't recommend injecting yourself with any kind of venom at all.
Same. Back. So we got sniped by Vice, but it's fine. We're fine.
Yeah.
It's just a conspiracy. It's just a giant conspiracy. They just don't want the truth to get out there. You know, all the things that people have to say about us.
And they waited until we were almost done too. We were done with that. We didn't even realize we weren't.
I know.
Finished up with
I know.
We were about to pop back out and just talk about it. We should.
Yeah. No. I will. What I'm gonna do is I'm gonna edit. I'm gonna make an edit where I can splice this part with that part, and then make sure that we.
Yeah, and then republish it as just one.
Republish it. Yeah, we'll republish it as a recording. for anyone that missed it, and it'll be one cohesive piece. But what did you think about that video?
He did look really young.
I mean, he did.
For 51, he looked pretty good, but I don't know if you could, that's again, correlation and causation. It's not, it takes more than just one guy doing this for, what did it say, 30 years, 20 years, 30 years, I think it was. It takes more than just, one example before we have a viable medical treatment that says, oh, this is an aging treatment, but the snake venom face cream. I don't know if I'm not sure where you all got cut off out there in the live chat, but he had formulated his own face cream too, which I think was probably the main reason he wanted to do his video, was to hawk his face cream that he's innovated. But yeah,
but that was just like, why would you do that? I don't know.
And repeatedly, I mean, you have to be a little bit of a masochist, right? Because depending on, but again, we don't know what type of snake venom it was. So it may have been pretty mild venom that he was injecting himself with. We're not sure. I'm sure these scientists in Copenhagen probably at some point asked him what species of snake he was milking to inject himself, but he didn't say it in this interview, which could tell us a lot more about why he's experiencing things the way he is. But yeah, what are you going to do?
So I found something on the interwebs that I sent to BrainBug before the stream, and this is very cringy to talk about, but we're going to talk about it. So homeopathy loves snake venom. It loves to pretend that they have cures for snake venom. They also love to use snake venom in their homeopathic medicines. So we'll talk a little bit about all of that. But I found this, and I sent it to BrainBug, and it's a venomous snake or insect bite recovery support kit for your dog, and it's all homeopathic.
Yeah. If so, can you click on blow up the picture so we can look at the actual packaging?
Yeah, let me. I don't know if I can do oh, here we go. Okay.
There, yeah. Okay, so I want to look at we're going to go down all the way to the bottom to the ingredients, okay? What is included in this packet? Okay, the first thing we have is Lechisis mutus, which is Bushmaster venom. Venom from the Bushmaster. It's one of the most deadly snakes in South America. And it's just Bushmaster venom and lactose and sucrose, which is basic binders for pill manufacturing. Just your standard stuff, the white powdery stuff in your medications. But the rest of the only active ingredient is the Bushmaster venom. Now, Bushmaster venom is actually a homeopathic treatment for hot flashes, menopausal hot flashes. Again, there's no clinical trials done that supports that this is a viable treatment for hot flashes, but that's what it is. It's a hot flash treatment. So when your dog gets bit by a potentially deadly snake, this is not going to be something that's going to help you out. This is not going to save your dog's life. I'm sorry, it's not. I don't mean to burst anybody's bubble about that. There was another. I want to skip over the Cedron here for a minute and just want to talk about the Crotalis horridus, and that's spelled wrong. Horridus is Horrrodis, but all the binomial nomenclature on here is wrong because the second word should not be capitalized. But I'm not going to harp on that. Yeah. Because this is dogbreedersstore.com. I think that this is dangerous for them to be selling and presenting this. That's why I'm attacking it right now. But you're going to see the same thing with these pellets here for the rattle. This is rattlesnake. Crotalis horridus is a timber rattlesnake, and it is also going to be the same boat. Now, this doesn't have a specific diagnosis that they prescribe it for in homeopathic treatments, because it's just when you look at anything that's hawking these for humans or animals, the snake venom pellets, With the rattlesnake pellets, they don't specify what the treatment is for. It says whatever the doctor, because it's going to be like guys we saw in that video back there, whatever they're prescribing it for is what it's for. So that's not how medicine works. I can keep going on here, but I'm gonna let Ben step in and talk about snake pellets for a minute before I attack some of these herbs.
Yeah, I mean, homeopathy, the concept is ridiculous. Thinking about treating symptoms, because they don't treat diseases in homeopathy, no matter how many of them say that, oh, we treat the underlying disease. We don't just treat symptoms. No, they only treat symptoms. They are targeting symptoms with more symptoms, which is weird. So they think that using something that causes the same symptoms is going to help relieve your symptoms. It's like two wrongs do not make a right here. You cannot you cannot give someone like a snake bite, which gives them neurotoxicity, and then give them something else that also gives them neurotoxicity, and then think that they're not going to have neurotoxicity. You're just increasing the dose of whatever neurotoxins, or you're giving them multiple neurotoxins at once.
You're just microdosing them another neurotoxin while trying to treat a neurotoxin. And yeah, it's not. And the microdoses in these pellets are obviously not going to be fatal in and of themselves because they're tiny. I mean, I'm not recommending anybody feed one to their dog ever. And the dogbreedersstore.com, shame on you for that. But yeah. The other additives we have on this list is Cedron, which I'm assuming is Simamba Cedron, which is another homeopathic staple, usually for treating like fevers and stuff. Not and no clinical support for that either, or for that treatment purpose at all. It's all homeopathy. Nothing. No clinical trials on any of this that show that they treat the condition. So yeah, we got our Cedron, which some Simamba Cedron. Let's see, what else do we have? We have Ledum palustre, which is a dead, almost like a dead name. It's a synonym with the binomial nomenclature of Rhododendron tomatisum, which is a homeopathic bug repellent. It's just a bug repellent. Then we have, and they put it on here, and there's a good reason why they're putting Hypericum on here, named Hypericum, because if they called it St. John's wort, you'd think I can get a whole bottle of these at my local drugstore in the vitamin section, because yeah, that's St. John's wort. And there's been some clinical study on St. John's wort. It does have some alleged efficacy for depression and stuff, but I'm not even going to touch on that because that's off topic.
It will also mess with all of your not all of them, most of your other meds. It will mess with your medications.
So. If you're on an SSRI, yeah, you're not going to be having a good time taking this.
Yeah.
So yeah, avoid the St. John's wort, and but yeah, you can buy it anywhere. You don't have to buy this special snake kit if you really think that it's going to help you. They're just stacking the deck here. I think the main selling point is the pellets with the venom on here, and of course, our last on here is my favorite, echinacea. What doesn't echinacea treat?
It apparently treats everything. Yeah. Every possible thing can be treated by echinacea. Why am I even in medicine? Like, right. If it was that easy of an answer, why would I be studying this much?
You should just sit in an echinacea garden and let people just come to you, and you just you need help. You pop a flower off, you cure them. And
I should.
Yeah. Your own practice. Yeah. And I like how this is for dog bites, but it says administer first choice of main remedies using remedy knowledge of kinesiology. You're a dog owner. You do not have an expertise in canine kinesiology. I'm sorry. You don't. How many years of study do you have to have before you could say you have a robust understanding of human kinesiology, for that matter?
Yeah, like a long time. Yeah. Like, and someone that would know dog. I mean, I would assume that would be a veterinarian or a PhD in like animal kinesiology.
a zoologist, a veterinarian, someone in those
Yeah.
fields, and there's going to be specialists for canines too. But most veterinarians, especially in areas where venomous snakes live, have treatments for, and it is expensive. It's expensive when your dog gets bit by a snake. It is.
Yeah.
And I'm sorry if your dog gets bit by a snake and whatever other reason you can't afford treatment or whatever. That's awful.
But
That's
also,
not
this
a-
is $60 for this box of uselessness.
Right. But this is just going to make you cry. This box here is going to make you cry. If your if your dog gets bit by a rattlesnake, it may die. And
Mhm.
the only thing that can save it is proper veterinary care. This is something for you to do while your dog is dying, I guess. You can, because it even says on some of this, they don't have to swallow it, just has to touch mucous membrane. So you're going to sit here and rub these snake venom pellets on your dog's gums while it's dying, and it's not going to help, and you're going to feel awful about it when you should be racing them to the vet. So if you care about your dog, this is not something you want to buy. I'm almost working myself up just thinking about someone buying this and thinking that, oh, I can take my dog on this hike with me and let him run off his leash, because if he gets bit by a snake, I got the treatments right here. And then the dog gets bit by a snake and it doesn't help.
So I have an article that I found from a homeopath talking about lechisis or whatever it is, and we're gonna read what this person says about it, because there's a lot, and it's quite infuriating. So,
and to reiterate what we just said at the beginning of that last section about the kit, that's Bushmaster venom.
Okay, so here's the snake. If you want to see it, there's the beautiful snake.
Yes, they are fascinating and truly magnificent venomous snakes. I believe they're the heaviest venomous snake in the animal kingdom. Not the longest, because king cobras are super long, but they're skinny. But yeah, okay. Bushmaster fact out of the way. Go ahead, Ben.
Yeah, so this says that those who need lechisis experience an inner restlessness and agitation, which results in extreme talkativeness, sarcasm, vivid imaginings, and passionate, intense behaviors. So, because not only can you use this to treat like snake bites and things, but you can use it to treat talkativeness, sarcasm, passionate, intense behaviors. Also, if you have skin eruptions that have a purplish discoloration, physical complaints arise on the left side of the body, and symptoms improve following a discharge, but worsen if discharges are suppressed. They tend to be hypersexual. Mental, emotional, and physical symptoms worsen during or after waking from sleep, and alcohol may be craved. So if you are excessively using alcohol, if you have insomnia, if you talk a lot, if you have physical complaints on the left side of your body only, because some things
Maybe purple.
if you're talking about something on the left side of the body, really what I'm concerned about is a stroke. Like if something is happening only to one side of your body, that sounds like a stroke. You do not
a heart
need
attack
this.
too, right?
Yeah. But it's odd. All of these are combined into one thing. And so they describe reasons that you'd use this if you have, because they're only treating symptoms. They only care about relieving symptoms. So if you're passionate and inclined to jealousy.
Hold on. What are the symptoms? I just need you to clarify for me. What are the symptoms of sarcasm? If you suffer from sarcasm,
I don't know.
What are the symptoms?
Any of us probably have that.
Yeah, I need to be microdosing some snake venom because I'm super sarcastic.
Yeah, next time I'm on a stream with Secular Rarity, I'm just gonna say, bro, you need to microdose some snake venom.
Yeah, that could become it could become an inside joke here when you're being a little too sarcastic or a little too talkative even. I tend to ramble if I get on a tangent, so I think that could mellow me out there a little bit.
Yeah, or if you're passionate and inclined to jealousy, you should microdose snake venom. If you're suspicious to the point of paranoia, you should microdose snake venom. If you're talkative, sarcastic, or if you're aggressive and prone to hatred. So basically, we should be giving the turfs microdoses of snake venom.
Fucking A. Pulsating or bursting headaches. So this is also a replacement for triptans.
Mm-hmm. Yep. For migraines, for cluster headaches, for hemorrhagic strokes. Because I mean, if you have the worst headache you've ever had in your life, potentially could be a brain bleed. So I mean, because you're treating symptoms. So I guess all symptoms are the same and don't have different etiologies for why you'd have that symptom. But like, this is why you can't treat symptoms, is you could have a migraine or you could have like a subarachnoid hemorrhage, and those are very different conditions.
Yeah, and and you don't want to treat these. The main point that we're trying to make here, this whole show, is that don't treat these things with homeopathy. Go to a real doctor and find out what's going on if you're having migraines, because it could be something more serious while you're sitting there taking your Bushmaster venom pills. Yeah, there could be something else going on there. You could have a brain bleed, like Ben just said. Yeah.
Yeah, and like left-sided throat pain only. It's only the left side. So only, which is interesting because anything that's localized to one side, I'm thinking like a paratonsillar abscess, and that is never only limited. Like it can't only happen to the left side. It can happen to either side.
The infections, yeah.
Yeah, like you can get an infection on whatever side of your body. That's not.
And it will be, yeah, just because it's on the left side. So does this stuff? What's peculiar is why doesn't it work on the right side of anything? It's all about the left side here.
I don't know. It doesn't make sense. Dislike of higher tight collars. So like, it's interesting that they're including that kind of discomfort into this. Asthma following jealousy is a thing, apparently.
Oh, yeah, like you hyperventilate after you get jealous about something, I guess.
Like, but asthma is like specifically IgE mediated. So like, are you getting an IgE hypersensitivity reaction like following being jealous?
And that's conflation here, because it sounds like maybe they'd be talking about like having a panic attack or something like that after a jealous reaction where you can't breathe.
Yeah, so they're using the wrong word here if they mean that, because like that would just be dyspnea, like dyspnea following jealousy, and like they could say that with anything, because that just means like difficulty breathing or shortness of breath. So that's a symptom. Asthma is not a symptom. Asthma is a pathophysiology. There is an actual mechanism for asthma. There are criteria you have to meet to be diagnosed with asthma. So that's chest oppression.
Now,
not chest pain.
That's
chest
not to
oppression.
say that certain emotional states can't aggravate your asthma. You can get yourself worked up when you have asthma and need to use a rescue inhaler. But use a rescue inhaler, not microdose snake venom.
Yeah, sure. You're already diagnosed asthma, like can be exacerbated by things. But you'd have to already have the underlying condition for that to happen. And then hormonal disturbances, premenstrual syndrome with irritability, depression, jealousy, and headache, hot flushes. Normally we call them hot flashes. It doesn't really matter. At the time of menopause, and sleep is impossible on the left side. So only left-sided sleep problems.
You got right-sided sleep problems, you need to find a different venom.
Yeah, does your airway work differently on different sides of your body?
Oh, sudden waking and feeling of suffocation. Is that when you wake on your left side though?
I don't know.
Especially when first falling asleep.
And then for pets, extreme jealousy, bluish discoloration of bites, hormonal difficulties with heightened sensitivity to heat. I don't know. The extreme jealousy is not really something here, but like if your pet's getting bluish discoloration of bites, that's a problem.
I don't know what that could possibly be. That sounds unless your pet is a mollusk, then it could have some. It would bleed blue, but yeah, no
Yeah,
bluish.
that's concerning.
To go to the vet if you got bluish discoloration of bites, though. Bites, like, I don't know. I guess that's probably talking about snake bites. Who knows? Do they have testimonials on here?
I don't think they do, but he goes into like this whole thing about lechesis. Like, look at this essay. So I think we don't need to read the entire essay, but there are some points of this that I really wanted to talk about, because he talks about like when you'd use this.
What do we know about this Dr. Herring? Is he a real doctor or just like a...
He's a homeopath. Oh, so here. So he talks about kind of because he talks about like the throat issues, and he specifically goes in more detail about like if you have basically like necrosis or like gangrene, and that's not normal. That's not normal. If you have like gangrene of like your tonsils, that don't do homeopathy. You need a surgeon.
The tonsils gotta go if they're gangrenous. Is that the right term? Gangrenous, I guess.
Yeah.
But they gotta go. You gotta get them out. You're not gonna be able to save those.
Like, no. You know what? I know that you have ischemia to your tonsils, and I know that you want to go see a surgeon to like, get them taken out, but I think you should just microdose snake venom. That's really the correct answer here. And so with the venom of this particular snake, what reactions would you expect from, let's say they weren't microdosing and they were actually going to
for a
take some of this
bushmaster?
venom? Yeah.
Let's pull it up right now. I don't want to misrepresent. If I don't know something, I'm gonna pull it up and look. So let's have a quick look. Bushmasters. I guess there's a company called Bushmaster Firearms. There we go. All right. Let's see what type of venom it has. I'm thinking it's a neurotoxin, which would be similar to a rattlesnake. Okay. Hemorrhagic disorder. Let's see. Clotting in the lungs, kidneys, obstruction of capillary blood flow. Yeah, you're not having a good time getting bit by a bushmaster. It's going to have a terrible impact on your nervous system, and things are going to shut down. You're going to start having blood clots. Yeah, hemorrhaging. If you're not going to be enjoying yourself too much. There was something I saw on there I wanted to read. It was the pit of the stomach, sore to the touch of, or even to pressure of clothes. Painful distension, flatulence, which is very annoying, can bear no pressure. The surface nerves.
So yeah, this whole paragraph here is scary, because when the first thing, especially if your abdomen is so tender, even with clothes touching it, that tells me you have peritoneal signs. This is an acute surgical abdomen. When you have somebody with any irritation of the peritoneum, will cause you to be in so much pain even by moving. Like if you see somebody with acute appendicitis, like they are not going to try to move. They will often just like be as still as possible, because any movement they make, any contact with most parts of their body. One of the diagnostic tests for appendicitis is a heel tap test. If you tap their heel and it's like unbearable pain, that is indicative of peritoneal signs. So any of that is a huge red flag for you need surgery now. Like if someone presents like that, like
Yeah.
you need help right now.
And is the help that they usually get, is it microdosing snake venom?
Oh no, you are going to surgery. You are
Yeah.
going to the OR now.
Yes.
That is what's
So,
going to happen. So this is irresponsible at best.
dangerous is the word that we would best describe what we're reading here, because
Yeah.
that whole center paragraph there, if you have, I don't see anything on here you shouldn't go seek medical attention for at all.
Mhm.
Yeah, everything listed here, it's all, and he's talking about using, again, I keep saying it, but microdosing snake venom is not gonna cure these conditions. It's not
And the
gonna help
same
your
thing,
dog
like
either.
if you have that much pain just on the touch of clothes to your larynx, that's also going to be a problem. Like if you're having such a reaction to where you're getting that kind of inflammation in your airway, you need to be intubated. Like there are things that need to happen now, and you don't have time. You don't have time to try out some alternative therapies. You don't have time to mess around. You got to go, and especially using something that is a known toxin. Probably not the best thing to start with either.
What do you
But
know
yeah.
about metalloprosthesis or proteinase?
Oh, metalloproteinases.
Yeah.
Yeah, they you can have applications for snake venom has some medicinal applications that we know of. Like uh eptifibatide is a medication coming from rattlesnake venom, or at least originally did. But that's an anticoagulant. So we can use some of these properties from snake venom. We don't use the actual snake venom. Like
Synthesized, yeah.
we extract the compounds that we want from it. But that's an example. There are diabetic medications that we use that come from, I think, Gila monster venom.
Oh, really?
For there's a GLP-1 agonist that it causes your pancreas to secrete more insulin, and I think that one comes from Gila monster. There's, I think, other venoms that are used, I think, primarily for anticoagulants. That's the most common one that I see. But there are uses for snake venom, but we don't use the venom itself anymore. We extract the compounds we want. We don't microdose venom, and we especially don't go to a homeopath to microdose venom.
Yeah. And this is just venom. That's why they have to put that on the label with the name of the organism that the venom comes from, because it's just that animal's venom mixed with sucrose, lactose to make it a pill. That's all it is. That's specifically what you're popping when you do these pellets. It's not synthesized. It's not. There's they have to activate it, don't they, to make it work as an anti-venom?
Something like that. They got to do something to it.
Yeah, there's chemistry behind.
Yeah.
Behind making it so it's viable as a medicinal treatment.
But something else here, like really quick before I think we're gonna wrap up in a sec. But up here where it says lachesis is always one of the first remedies to be thought of in any disease when it comes to seems inclined to spend its main force in the throat, such as typhoid fever, pneumonia, scarlatina, etc. That's also a very dangerous medical claim. You should not be microdosing snake venom for your typhoid or for your scarlatina.
All those are fatal. All those
Yeah.
conditions are fatal. And yeah.
Yeah, this is dangerous.
So what have we learned today, Ben?
What did we learn today? We learned that brown recluse bites probably aren't brown recluse bites most of the time. We learned how to rule out a brown recluse bite. We learned that you can use a potato to draw out spider venom. Just kidding, you cannot do that.
No. Absolutely not. Nor does clay work
Mm.
for that service either. It desiccates the area. That's about it.
What did you learn, BrainBug?
Oh my gosh, I just learned a whole bunch about just there at the end when you were talking about the extracting for Gila monster venom. I love stuff like that. I love when we find actual medicinal uses in nature. I'm not anti-homeopathic. I mean, to the extent that I don't think that any of these natural substances can treat a condition. I just don't think that we should be marketing them until there's been proper testing on it. If the testing doesn't come out, it's time to drop it. It's time to let it go. If there's been clinical tests done and it proves that your remedy doesn't work, don't just stick to your guns and keep hawking it. We know most of the stuff doesn't work. We've done a lot of research, especially echinacea. Echinacea has been researched into treating. So look it up. Go to Google Scholar and type in clinical trial echinacea and see what you pull up. There's been a lot of work into it and nothing. So
Yeah, and just a reminder that if a medicine has been demonstrated to be effective, it is no longer alternative. It is just medicine. So there's that. So what you got going on in your life, BrainBug?
Well, I am got a busy day today because I have my show this morning, then I'll come on here, and then tonight I am going to be hanging out with Vandalia 1998, talking about the evolution of insect wings. That'll be fun. I am on the Perspective on the 22nd. I don't know who I'm with yet, but might be you, Ben. I don't know.
Maybe we'll find out.
Yeah. But that's a show that both Ben and I host every Tuesday night. So watch it whether I'm there or Ben's there or not, because we got some great people on our phones there who both the call screeners who get the people through to us, and then those of us who talk to them live on air, which is Ben and myself, and we take all kinds of cool calls. If you have a supernatural or paranormal experience that you want to make a claim about, give us a call. It's Tuesday nights at 7 Central Standard Time.
And if you want to microdose snake venom, call on to the Perspective when BrainBug is on.
Yeah, we'll talk about it. And I am, let's see what else I got going on. I got Ring 42, who I am doing the Infesting Fiction segments with, and we're going to be talking about Starship Troopers and the bugs. That's on the 19th. And I have something planned with Pale Blue Mama. Me and Amanda were talking about doing something with her in Dark Matter 2525. So I'm excited about that. We haven't set a date yet, but that's coming up in the coming weeks. And I think that's about it. Oh yeah, I'm supposed to be collabing with Kyle Brewer too. I'm not sure exactly what we're going to do yet, but we've been talking privately about it and doing something fun. So keep your eye out for that as well.
Oh heck yeah. And there's not a whole lot going on my channel right now because I'm still on rural medicine. But the biggest new thing coming to my channel is that we have a Patreon, and with that, people who pledge in the $3 tier or higher, you get access to an exclusive Patreon after show where I will be reacting to fun medical TV shows, doing maybe some surgeon simulator at some point, kind of goofing off. But that's super fun. So if you want in on that, go to the Patreon. And here's our lovely, lovely patrons, Reggie and Kevin. Thank you so much for your support. And I will hopefully see both of you in the after show over there. But with that being said, this was a great episode. Thank you all for joining us. Go catch BrainBug this evening on their next show, and we'll see you all next time.